Hey guys, it's Cassandra, and today I'm going to be tier ranking all of the books that I've read this year so far. I am so excited for this video. I have not done a video like this, but I've been seeing people do this type of video for over a year now, and I love watching it. I love watching it. I think it's the best way to rank things, because I feel like sometimes you don't have a good definitive if one book is better than the other, but you know they're kind of like in the same tier. So I decided to come up with my own tier ranking. This one is kind of an experiment just to see if I like doing these types of videos. I really love seeing people rank specifically all of their fantasy books that they've ever read, or all of the fantasy series that they've ever read. I love watching those videos. So if this one goes down well and I like doing it, then I'm probably gonna do that video as well, and maybe even do more tier ranking videos like this, because I just like this way better than just naming books. I don't know, this way it just seems like more fun to me, but I don't know how it'll go down in the editing and all of that, so we'll see. I decided to start with something that I think is just a little bit easier. There are a few fewer books than all the fantasy books that I read, and maybe it's something that most people aren't going to be searching for all the books that I've read this year so far. But if you're one of my subscribers that watches my videos normally, it might be something that you're still interested in. So let's try this. Okay, so I created this different tier list, and you can kind of see the tiers that I decided to go with. I decided to go with more of the booktube tiers rather than the regular YouTube tiers. So I have God tier, demigod tier, because let's face it, I'm going to want to put a lot of things in God tier because I love those books, but it should only be my favorites that are going to be favorite books of all time for me. Then we have great tier. For great tier, I plan on doing good solid 5-star books, or 4.5-star books, and things like that would be in great tier. Then we have guilty pleasure books that I probably rated too high, but I like them so much, even though they're probably not that great. They're probably more books that I really love the romances in. That's probably gonna be the guilty pleasure tier. Then we have the good tier, which are solid good books that I would recommend. The okay tier, which are probably books that, while they're okay, they're probably not books that I would recommend except for in certain circumstances. Then we have which are just books that I didn't care that much about. I wished I wanted to like more, or something like that. And then bad, which is just bad books, just bad. So those would be books that I would not recommend. And down here you can see all of the books that I read so far this year. I have finished a total of 105 books up until this point, but in this I didn't include any of my rereads. So my rereads are books that I really love, and I reread them because I wasn't feeling good at the time and I wanted to feel better. But all of those would probably make God tier, if not God tier, then at least demigod tier, which is just not fair to all of these other books that I read here, which there are probably not as many that would make those levels. So yeah. So we are gonna start with A Dash of Trouble by Anna Mariano, and I am really considering putting it in demigod tier. So for those of you who don't know, this is a Latina-inspired middle grade fantasy book. It is fantastic. Shannon from That's So Po recommended this to me, and I absolutely loved it. I read it during middle grade March, by the way, and I think I'm just gonna go with great for now. It is a solidly great book. Then we have A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer, and I'm just gonna go with good. It was good. It was a good follow-up to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I'm excited to see what happens in the next book in this trilogy, but I don't think anything made it stand out to be great for me. Then we have A Hero's Guide to Deadly Dragons, which I'm just gonna put in okay. So this is one of the books in the How to Train Your Dragon series, and I really love some of the books in that series, but not other ones. And the ones from this year, I haven't loved as much as last year's books. Then we have A Little Hatred, which is going to be an automatic God tier for me. That is my favorite book that I've read this year so far. It's one of my favorite books in the First Law series, and the First Law series is one of my favorite series of all time. So that is definitely a God tier book for me. I absolutely love A Little Hatred, and it has so many great characters. Just Just saying. Okay, then we have A Woman Is No Man by Itaf Ram. This one's difficult. It's either great or demigod. I'm gonna go with great, right behind A Dash of Trouble. I think both of them could potentially be in demigod, but right now I'm gonna leave them in great tier. It'll just depend on like what other books I put in those areas. And I do think I like A Dash of Trouble a little bit more than Woman Is No Man. But Woman Is No Man does have a very good, like almost bittersweet sort of ending that was really good. Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. I'm gonna put it in good. I'm gonna put it better than A Heart So Fierce and Broken. It is a really good, solid feminist nonfiction that I really enjoyed. Baptism of Fire by Andrei Sapkowski. I'm gonna put that in good also. I'm gonna put it between these two. I thought it was good. It was one of the first Witcher books that I was just like, man, the Witcher series is actually really good. I don't think it was great though. Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. That's gonna be great. I'm gonna put it right there between Love, Sugar, Magic and A Woman Is No Man. I think it's a great book and it deserves to be in that level. Then we have A Blood Song by Anthony Ryan. Now this one I am not sure about because I feel like in any other circumstances, I would put it as great. But I read it when I was in the middle of a reading slump. Maybe in any other circumstances, I would put it as demigod. I'm gonna put it in great for now at the end of great. But I feel like if I had read it like when I was at a reading high, this book could have potentially been a demigod or a god tier book for me. And it just wasn't. Cold Hearted Rake by Lisa Kleypas. I'm just gonna put it as okay. This was one that I really wanted to be a guilty pleasure read, but it didn't quite get there for me. Cricket Kingdom. This one's gonna go, I'm gonna go demigod for this one. I think demigod is a good level for that one. I think there was a lot of things I really, really loved about this book, and I think there are some things that I wanted a little bit more from, and I really wish that there weren't flashbacks. Like, I wish she had found a different way of doing those characterizations. Daughter from the Dark, I'm gonna put it in okay. I'm gonna put it at the top of the okay because I really love the writing, but nothing about the book really gripped me. By the way, that's a book by Marina and Sergei Dyachenkov, are the same writers that wrote Vita Nostra, which is like one of my favorites from last year, but their new book I just felt like okay about. Dead House Gates by Steven Erikson. I'm gonna go up to great or demigod. I can't decide. I think I'm gonna go demigod. I think I'm gonna do it ahead of Cricket Kingdom. Wow, Malazan Book of the Fallen is really, really good, and I think Dead House Gates is my favorite book so far in the series. I've only read 2 books in the series, so there's not much there. But yeah, I think Malazan has the ability to be like one of my favorite series of all time. So Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that's definitely bad for me. I just really didn't like it. I really didn't like the morals that it had, and I just really wanted the character to grow, and he didn't. Dragon Pearl, I'm gonna go with okay. I'm gonna put it after Daughter from the Dark. I'm gonna put it right there. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was all right. Dune, this is gonna be controversial, but I'm gonna put it in eh. It started off strong. I like the audiobook, but just that's all I have to say. For Forest Mage, I kind of want to put this as guilty pleasure. I'm going to put it as good. I'm going to put it right there as good. It's my favorite book in the Soldier of Sun trilogy by Robin Hobb. I don't think that series is as good as her other series, but I liked it. Most people don't like this series, especially Forest Mage in particular, but I liked it, so yeah. Furthermore, I'm going to put it in good. I'm going to put it at the beginning of good. I really liked Furthermore. It was a solidly good book. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I'm going to put this in guilty pleasure because, like, it was really good and I really enjoyed it more than most of those good books. So, yeah, I'm putting that in guilty pleasure. Oh, man. Gods of Jade and Shadow. I'm going to put this in eh. I don't think it was a bad book, but I wanted to love it so much than I did. I wanted to love it so bad, and it was just kind of for me. So, Heart of Flames. I think I'm going to put Heart of Flames in good. I'm going to put it at the beginning of good. Yeah, anyways. Heart of Flames is the sequel to Crown of Feathers. Last year I read Crown of Feathers. Absolutely loved it. Heart of Flames, though, didn't care for it as much. I still think it was a solidly good book. It might be suffering from middle book syndrome a little bit, but I liked it. Heroes Die, that's a great book. I'm gonna put it right there. I don't think it's demigod level for me, but it was great. How to Train Your Dragon Again, I'm gonna put it over here. I don't remember exactly which book this was, but I think the other one I liked better than that one. Invisible Man, I'm gonna put this up here in great also. Should I put it as demigod? I'm thinking about it. I think I'm just gonna put it at the front of great. It was a fantastic book. It's super mind-bendy and twisted, and I loved the audiobook. I love audiobooks though, so that might be why, but yeah, I really enjoyed Invisible Man. Lady of the Lake, that's gonna be a demigod tier book for me. Demigod tier book for me right there. Now I'm gonna put Crooked Kingdom ahead of Lady of the Lake. I did give Lady of the Lake 5 stars and Crooked Kingdom 4.75 stars, but that's because I had like literally 0 complaints about Lady of the Lake, but I think arguably I enjoyed Crooked Kingdom more. Spiderwick Chronicles. I'm gonna go with for most of the Spiderwick Chronicles. I think the last one I would have put in okay, but I didn't care for them that much. I enjoyed it. I can understand why like kids would love it, but it's just something that I don't think it's the right time for me to read those books. Misery, I'm gonna go with okay for Misery. Let's go right there. Okay for Misery. I think it could potentially be a very good book, but I didn't actually enjoy it. So yeah. Network Effect, that's gonna go up to great for me. I'm gonna put it nearer to the end of great because I did think it was missing some stuff that I really wanted from it, but the book made me so happy. Murderbot is so great. I love that we got a full-length novel from Murderbot, and I hope that the series continues on. Nothing to See Here. It was a solidly good book, so I'm going to put it in good. Yeah, I think no, not guilty pleasure. Good. Right there. Right there, I think, is right where I would put it. It's a literary fiction about spontaneous human combustion, and it has such a great concept, but that book ends way too early. It was a solidly good book, though. One Day in December, I think I wanted it to be a guilty pleasure read. I don't think it quite got there. I think I'm going to go with just okay on this one. I did really enjoy it, but towards the end, I just kind of like slumped off from that one and didn't love it as much as I really wanted to. One to Watch, that's gonna go into a guilty pleasure there for me. Behind, I think I'm gonna put it in front of Get a Life, Chloe Brown, because there was a lot of things that I did like about One to Watch. That was a recent read for me, and it was good. Like that was pretty good. It's coming out next month, by the way, so you guys can definitely check that one out. Pride by Evie Zaboy. I think I'm gonna put this in okay, right there in okay. So it's a Pride and Prejudice retelling, and I feel like I would have liked it a lot more if it wasn't a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I know that sounds terrible, but if it had just been YA romantic contemporary, I think I would have liked it a lot. I would have liked how unique the voice is in Pride, but because it was so obviously a retelling and it just didn't live up to the original work, it just didn't work for me. So Prince of Thorns, I'm gonna actually go on this one. I'm gonna put it at the beginning of the for Prince of Thorns. I do want to continue on with the series. I just don't think the first book was really that great. I love Mark Rylance as an author, but this was like his first book, and the characters kind of felt really like caricatures of themselves. Red Country. Oh, this is gonna hurt me a little bit. It's gonna hurt me a little bit. I'm putting it as good. Red Country is by Joe Abercrombie. It's part of the First World series, which is one of my favorite series of all time, but it's my least favorite book in that series. And with the exception of like a couple of things that happens towards the end, I didn't get really invested into Red Country the way I did with a lot of the other books in that series. Oh, Red, White, and Royal Blue. My initial thing is to go guilty pleasure, because it's definitely guilty pleasure, but I think it's good enough to go great. And I actually think I'm gonna go demigod for this one. I know that's surprising for me because I did not expect to like that one half as much as I did, but I love that book so much. It was so good. I can definitely see myself rereading that book like multiple times in the future. It's such a fun, funny book. Loved it. I just loved it. Regretting You. I'm gonna go okay for Regretting You. I'm gonna put it right there. I think it was interesting. It was fast, fun read. There was, actually, I'm gonna go for that one. I forgot there was a scene that actually made me really uncomfortable in that one. So yeah, I'm gonna reduce that one down to Sad day. Okay, Renegade's Magic, I'm gonna go okay. It was okay. Like, it was the third book in the Soldier Sun trilogy by Robin Hobb. She's one of my favorite authors. Probably my least favorite book by her though. Serpent and Dove, I'm gonna go okay with this one as well. I think with all the hype out, I might have had too high expectations for that one. I enjoyed it. I don't think I would have bought the hardcover copy of it if it wasn't for all of the hype. Like, if I had just read this book and then tried to decide whether I would want to spend, $13 on a hardcover copy, I would have been like, nope. I could just borrow it from the library. I don't need to buy it. I don't even need to buy the paperback, to tell you the truth. So yeah, I'm gonna go with okay on that one. Shaman's Crossing, I'm gonna go up to good here. I think it's good, not as good as Forest Mage. That was the first book in the Soldier Sun trilogy, in case you were wondering. We have Sharp Ends by Joe Abercrombie. I'm gonna go up to great. Sharp Ends is a series of short stories set in the First Law world. A solidly good set of series of short stories until the last short story. And that last short story is like God tier for me. It was so good. I loved it. But the rest of them didn't live up to that. So yeah, it's a solidly great set of short stories. Shortfall. Oh man. I think I'm gonna go good. I'm gonna go okay for Shorefall. I know, that makes me sad. I really wanted to love Shorefall, like really, really wanted to, but the characters just weren't the same. They just weren't the same. It was still the world, it still had great plot and everything, but yeah, it was just okay for me. Sing Unburied Sing, I'm gonna go with okay for this one as well. Like a magical realism kind of book. I enjoyed the writing. I didn't follow along with the plot that well. It is a very like deep book and deeply like emotional book, and for that I really enjoyed it, but there wasn't as much about it that I liked. So we have Slaughterhouse 5. I'm gonna go with great for this one. I'm gonna go to the end of the great column right there, because it would be like in between good and great for me. But yeah, I really enjoyed Slaughterhouse 5. It's like the mind-bendy like wartime story. It was great. A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I'm gonna go yeah, I'm gonna put it right there. I wanted to love this book way more than it did. I think the ending redeemed it a little bit for me, but overall Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, I'm gonna go with good. It was a solidly good book. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm gonna go right there in good. Yep, solidly good book. The Dragon's Path, I'm gonna go okay. I'm gonna go to right there, The Dragon's Path. So that's the first book in the Dagger and Coin series by Daniel Abram. I do plan to continue on with the series, but I felt like it's set up really well, but there wasn't as much payoff as I wanted from that book. The Drawing of Three, I'm gonna go with great, which actually really surprises me for The Drawing of Three. So this is the second book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I hated the first book, The Gunslinger. Absolutely hated it. But man, Stephen King can write a comeback. Man, I loved The Drawing of Three. It was great. The False Prince, I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna go with guilty pleasure. This is kind of a weird guilty pleasure. I'm actually gonna go in between these two for The False Prince. That's like a weird guilty pleasure, but like I really, really enjoyed The False Prince in a YA fantasy sort of way, even though there's like no romance in this, mind you. But it's arguably not a great book, but I really, really enjoyed it just because it's this type of book that I would really enjoy, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's a guilty pleasure read for me, definitely. I'm gonna put Spider-Man Chronicles again in the heroes, I think I'm gonna go with great towards the end. I did actually really love the heroes a lot more than Red Country, but even though it's a Joe Abercrombie book, I don't think it deserves demigod level status, which makes me sad. We have The Ice Dragon by George R.R. Martin. I'm gonna go with okay. Let's go right there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with okay right there. I enjoyed it. It was okay. Like, I like the illustrations probably more than the story itself, to tell you the truth. Man, this actually really surprised me. I thought I would have way more in great and good than in okay, but okay is already on 2 lines. Wow, that really surprises me. Okay, then we have the Spider-Man Chronicles again. I'm gonna go with The Last Olympian, I'm gonna go with great for this one. The last book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, I absolutely loved it. Like, so good, such a great series. And it ended very well too. The Little Prince, I'm gonna go with let's go there. I listened to the audiobook of it. The audiobook really annoyed me. I think the illustrations are kind of important for that one. I don't see myself really rereading it, even though I think it's the type of book that for it to really be good, you gotta reread it. So the Poetry of Emily Dickinson, this is gonna go up to great for me. Should I do demigod on this? Nah, I don't think so. I'm gonna do the end of great over here. I love the Poetry of Emily Dickinson. I love that collection of it. I do think there are more that could be in that, so yeah. The Rage of Dragons, that's going up to God tier for me. For some reason, I can't scroll and drag at the same time. I'm gonna do the beginning. No, not God tier. Sorry, demigod tier. I'm gonna do the beginning of the demigod tier. Rage of Dragons. Solidly 5-star book for me. So great. The Spider-Man Chronicles, again, we have The Shadow of What Was Lost. This is another one. I'm gonna go guilty pleasure with this one. That's kind of weird, right? Yeah, but sometimes fantasy books are guilty pleasure for me. I think it's a good book, but I loved it a little out of proportion for how the level of the goodness of the book, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's a great book, but I loved it as much as I would love a great book. The Shape of Water, I'm just gonna go with bad for this one. That surprised me. The beginning of the bad tier, not the end. The beginning, but the more I think about that book, the more I don't like it. The Stand, The Stand, that one's hard. It's either good or great. I'm gonna go the beginning of the good tier on this one. And the reason for that is just because I didn't actually enjoy it. I can see that it was arguably a brilliant book, but I didn't actually enjoy it. And I think it's more of what happened in my life rather than the book itself, because it was realistically horrifying. 10,000 Doors of January, that's gonna go up to the great tier. Not guilty pleasure. That one's gonna go up to great. I think I would put it right here between Sharp Ends and Heroes Die. I really enjoyed it on a personal level, on a literary level. I enjoyed 10,000 Doors of January completely. The Test, that's going up to demigod. Like, definitely demigod tier for me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and I loved it. Such a short novella, but so impactful. The Titan's Curse, I think I'm gonna leave it right here in good tier. I think I liked it more than the Battle of the Labyrinth, but I didn't like it as much as The Last Olympian. But it was a solidly good book. Then we have Tower of the Swallows. I think I'm gonna go with good on this one. It's not one of my favorite Witcher books, but it was a solidly good book. Also, The Turn of the Key, that one's going at least up at great. Do I like it demigod level? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna leave it on great. I think I'm gonna put it, I think Ruth Ware does a fantastic job of having like an atmosphere, like a creepy atmosphere. She does a fantastic job of that. So she did a great job. I enjoyed that. The Two Lives of Lydia Bird, that's definitely a guilty pleasure. That's going to be the front of my guilty pleasure. Like, man, I loved that book so much. I loved it so, so much. But arguably, it's not that great of a book. But I loved it. The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. That's gonna go straight up to the great tier. I'm gonna put it right there. I loved it. Historical fantasy that is following the Underground Railroad. Like, what more could I want? The Wedding Date. Oh man, I'm gonna put it in I'm gonna put it right here. It was all right. Didn't love it though. Really wanted to love it. Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. This is gonna be an unpopular opinion because most people don't like Robin Hobb, but this is going up to demigod tier, and I'm gonna put it at the beginning of demigod tier. I'm sorry. That book was devastating. It is a tiny little novella, but it was devastating, and I loved it. Spiderwick Chronicles, but this is the last book in the series, which is The Wrath of Mulgarath, which I actually think was okay. I actually enjoyed The Wrath of Mulgarath, so yeah. I'm gonna put it there. This is How You Lose the Time War. I'm gonna put that in okay as well. That actually seems about where I would put it, yeah. So We Should All Be Feminist, I would put that in good. I liked it more than Bad Feminist. I would put it in good. It was a solidly good book about feminism. You guys know where this one's going. Words of Radiance? No, not good. Not good. All the way up to God tier. Of course it was going to be a God tier book. Not as good as A Little Hatred, in my opinion, but definitely God tier worthy. And then last is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This is literary fiction. I liked it. I actually really liked this one. I'm trying to decide if it's guilty pleasure or good. It's not really guilty pleasure. I think it's just good. And I'm gonna go on that side of Heart of Flames, yeah. So that is all of the books that I've read this year so far. I got 2 God tier books, which I think is pretty solid. 2 books in 6 months that are gonna be like my favorite books of all time. I think that's pretty solid. I got some really great demigod books there, and then I read a lot of really great books. What actually surprises me the most is the amount of and bad books that I have, because like I feel like when I do reviews, I don't have this many. I don't know. I think maybe I give them too high star ratings than what they deserve, but yeah, that's how I felt about all of these books. So let me know if you enjoyed watching this. I had fun making it. Hopefully I'll have fun editing it, because it seems a little bit more difficult than it typically would be to edit this type of video. Let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments, or if you would have ranked them in a different place than what I did. I would love to discuss with you guys. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so consider subscribing. I also post bonus videos, so if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.